Former WWE NXT champion Trick Williams lays out TNA World Champion Joe Hendry to close last night's TNA Rebellion pay-per-view. Former WWE superstar Indi Hartwell announces she has signed with TNA Wrestling. The Neoths defeat the Hardies to become the brand new TNA World Tag Team Champions. Slamovich taps out Tessa Blanchard at Rebellion. Moose retains the X Division Championship in an Ultimate X match. Shane Haste answers Elijah's Open Challenge at Rebellion. Fatal Influence, that being the NXT Trio, win on the Countdown to Rebellion show. The Knockouts Tag Team Championships don't change hands at Rebellion's. X-Pac appears and hits an X-Factor at TNA Rebellion. Stokely Hathaway undergoes a name change in All Elite Wrestling. Pat McAfee will address Gunther's attack last week on Monday Night Raw. Bandido is set for a CMLL return. We've also got more news on AEW's upcoming Arena Mexico debut. Ace Austin reportedly is in negotiations with TNA over a brand new contract. Tetsuya Naito says he never made unreasonable demands with New Japan Pro Wrestling over a new deal. Conan opens up on the acquisition of AAA Lucha Libre by WWE and says he will be on the new creative team. And Timeless Tony Storm issues a title eliminator challenge for AEW Dynamite. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Before we do though, you can see right there we're at 21,358 subscribers. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and join the ever-expanding WNU, that being the Wrestling News universe. In addition to that, you can join the WN365 roster, links in the video description below. You can also scan the QR code when it appears on the sidebar or click the join button. Speaking of the sidebar, you can see all upcoming watch-alongs and post-shows that we've got for the month of May, including WWE Backlash and AEW Double or Nothing. Let's begin though with TNA Wrestling today and Trick Williams appearing shockingly at the TNA Rebellion pay-per-view. Trick Williams crossed the line at TNA Rebellion. Joe Hendry successfully defended the TNA World Championship at TNA Rebellion, defeating Ethan Page and Frankie Kazarian in a triple threat main event. The finish saw Hendry hit the standing ovation chokeslam on Page for the victory. After the match, WWE NXT superstar Trick Williams attacked Hendry, catching him off guard with a spin kick, followed by the Trick shot knee. Trick picked up the TNA World title and tossed it down onto the fallen body of Hendry. Now, Hendry interrupted Trick during his confrontation with WWE NXT champion Obafemi on Tuesday's NXT. This was Hendry's sixth successful title defense of the TNA World Championship. Of course, we'll have to wait and see what the plans are moving forward for this. Now, speaking of WWE influence on the show, Indi Hartwell, a former WWE superstar, has crossed the line. At TNA Rebellion, it was announced that Indi Hartwell has officially signed with TNA Wrestling. Indi called her signing a dream come true and stated that she indeed has crossed the line. Hartwell was released by WWE in October of 2024. She is a former NXT Women's Champion and NXT Women's Tag Team Champion. She has wrestled for various independent promotions since her release, including House of Glory. It was noted that Indi will speak on the May 1st episode of TNA Impact Live. Of course, that's taking place this Thursday at a special start time. The Neoths are the brand new TNA World Tag Team Champions. Nick and Ryan Nemeth defeated the Hardies for the TNA World Tag Team Championships. It was a case of brothers versus brothers on Sunday night as Nick and Ryan Nemeth took on Matt and Jeff Hardy for the TNA World Tag Team Championships at TNA Rebellion. After stealing the actual belts from the brothers Hardy on Impact, the Hollywood heels stole the reign from Matt and Jeff as well. It was a back and forth affair with the crowd firmly on the side of the Hardys. Whispers in the wind, Twist of Fate and Swanton Bombs weren't enough to put away the Nemeth brothers, but a misstep from Matt Hardy led to a referee only getting a 2 count. This allowed Ryan to prevent a Swanton Bomb and take Matt Hardy out of the equation and allow brother Nick to hit a low blow and a danger zone. Ryan would end up tagging in and getting the pinfall. This is the first time Nick and Ryan Nemeth have held TNA Tag Team Championship gold. Now, Massa Slamovich, she retained her TNA Knockouts World Championship, tapping out Tessa Blanchard. In the TNA Knockouts World Championship match at TNA Rebellion, Massa Slamovich defeated Tessa Blanchard. While Blanchard survived an avalanche, rolling Death Valley driver and running knee, she wasn't strong enough to withstand Slamovich's disarmer-esque submission hold. This is the first time Blanchard has lost a singles match since returning to TNA at TNA Final Resolution last year. Now, throughout the match, the audience would chant for CM Punk and John Cena. Specifically, the crowd chanted, "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks," and CM Punk during the bout. Of course, John Cena is currently in his retirement year in wrestling. He's got 26 dates left as a WWE superstar. Moose is still the TNA X Division champion. Moose retained the TNA X Division championship in Ultimate X, and he didn't even need to climb the high wire. At TNA Rebellion 2025, Moose defeated El Hijo del Vikingo, Sidney Akeem, Leon Slater, Matt Cardona, and Casey Navarro to retain the X Division championship in the signature match of the division, Ultimate X. The match featured typical spots you would expect to see from a match like this, especially from Slater and Akeem. Now, in the end, it was actually Slater who pulled down the bout from the higher wire, but before he could touch his feet to the ground, he was speared by Moose, who was already on the floor. Moose then picked up his championship and was declared the winner in a photo finish. Of course, Moose has been holding the championship for quite some time. This was the first Ultimate X match for all 6 men who competed. This was the 53rd Ultimate X match overall in TNA wrestling history. Now, Shane Haste, he answered the open challenge with Elijah. He walked with Elijah last night. A New Japan Pro Wrestling talent, Shane Haste, answered Elijah's open challenge at TNA Rebellion. Despite not knowing his opponent, Elijah still picked up the victory, finishing off Haste with a tombstone pile driver. Again, Haste is currently a New Japan Pro Wrestling star. Now, he did wrestle a couple of matches for TNA/Impact back in 2023. Speaking of the influence of WWE on the show, Fatal Influence made a bold statement at the Countdown to TNA Rebellion 2025, securing a major win in their TNA debut in trios action. The WWE NXT faction, JC Jane, Fallon Henley, and Jasmine Nix, proved to be the more cohesive unit on April 27th, defeating the team of Rosemary, Zaya Brookside, and Li Ying Li. The result boiled down to Zaya Brookside does not want to resort to nefarious means and use the brass knuckles given to her by Rosemary to secure the victory. JC Jane scored a discus punch on Brookside, giving her team the victory in what was Fallon Henley's overall debut for TNA Wrestling. Of course, this all part of the working relationship between WWE and TNA. Knockouts Tag Team Championships are still Elegance. Ash by Elegance and Heather by Elegance retained the TNA Knockouts Tag Team titles in a four-way bout at TNA Rebellion. They defeated Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson, Spitfire, and Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley. The finish saw Maggie Lee hold Ash's leg during a Tower of Doom spot. With everyone down, Ash was able to hit the Swanton Bomb on threat for the victory, retaining the Knockouts Tag Team Championships in the process. This was the first successful title defense for Ash and Heather by Elegance. Now, WWE Hall of Famer Sean X-Pac Waltman was on TNA Rebellion last night. Sean Waltman actually got physical at TNA Rebellion 2025, and Zachary Wentz managed to pin the TNA X Division champion. In a special 6-man tag team match at TNA Rebellion, Sean Waltman was in the corner of the Rascals, Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz, and Ace Austin as they defeated the System's Moose, Eddie Edwards, and Brian Myers. Now, Moose was actually filling in for JDC, who had travel issues. Miguel, Austin, and Wentz all paid tribute to different members of D-Generation X. Ace Austin was dressed like Billy Gunn, Miguel paid tribute to Road Dogg, and Wentz had X-Pac style gear on. Throughout various points, the System prevented them each from crotch chopping, but that all changed when Alicia Edwards got in the ring and slapped Sean Waltman. As retaliation, he hit her with an X-Factor. Wentz was then able to pin Moose, the TNA X Division champion, after hitting a springboard cutter. In Moose's defense, he did previously defend his championship in an Ultimate X match earlier on in the evening, so he's pretty worn down. Going over to AEW, a bit of a name change here for a star that recently returned to AEW television. Now, in recent weeks, FTR have turned heel, notably attacking Cope after their failed bid to win the AEW World Trios Championship at AEW Dynasty. Since then, FTR have reintroduced Stokeley Hathaway to AEW television as the new manager/agent. Hathaway has previously been the manager for Jade Cargill, the short-lived Firm faction, Chris Statlander, and another short-lived run with Private Party. After being reintroduced, there has been an official change made regarding Hathaway on the official AEW website roster page. He is no longer listed as Stokeley Hathaway and now listed as simply Stokeley. On this past Wednesday's AEW Dynamite, FTR, accompanied by Stokeley, attacked the Rock and Roll Express. On Collision, FTR picked up the victory in the main event against Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly of the Paragon. Now, Pat McAfee, of course, he was attacked last week by Gunther on the Raw after WrestleMania, and an update has emerged on WWE's plans for McAfee following the commentator recently being attacked by Gunther. On the April 21st episode of Raw, now former World Heavyweight Champion Gunther got into an on-screen altercation with the WWE commentary team. Pat McAfee intervened when Gunther attempted to put Michael Cole in a sleeper hold, leading to the ring general ultimately choking McAfee out, with McAfee not returning to commentary that night and Gunther suspended indefinitely later that week. There had been some uncertainty as to when we'll see next star on WWE television. WWE has now confirmed that McAfee will be on today's edition of Monday Night Raw 1 week after being attacked. As confirmed by Raw General Manager Adam Pearce, McAfee will be given some time to address Gunther's attack on Raw at McAfee's request. Pearce announced this during a round of WWE announcements on social media. Other announcements included Rhea Ripley versus Roxanne Perez, McAfee to address Gunther's attack, Paul Heyman, Seth Rollins and Bron Breakker to appear, Becky Lynch to explain why she attacked Lyra Valkyria, and SmackDown General Manager Nick Aldis will fill in for Adam Pearce as the Raw General Manager for one night only. Now, an update here on Ring of Honor World Champion Bandido returning to Mexico. All Elite Wrestling's partnership with Mexican promotion CMLL will be taken to the next level in June when the two companies host a trilogy of events in the legendary Arena Mexico. AEW has already had a number of luchadors on its books, one of which is current Ring of Honor World Champion Bandido, but due to the fact he primarily wrestled for CMLL's rival company AAA, it was originally believed that Bandido was of a handful of wrestlers that simply weren't allowed to compete over the summer. This looks to have changed, according to Dave Meltzer in the most recent edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, who reported that an agreement has been made that would allow Bandido on the show if CMLL wanted to have him, due to the fact that his voice can be heard in the trailer AEW put together to promote the AEW Dynamite Grand Slam Mexico on June 18th. Meltzer noted that Bandido will be one of the luchadors traveling to Arena Mexico, given that he is the Ring of Honor World Champion, and ROH are set to be involved as a separate brand on the Fantastica Mania Mexico event on June 20th. The same currently can't be said for former Ring of Honor World Champion Rush. He was at one point the biggest star CMLL had. However, he left the company in 2019 on rocky grounds after choosing to work for Ring of Honor over CMLL on the same day, causing himself and his younger brother Dragon Lee to be fired. Meltzer noted that Rush returning to Arena Mexico would be a huge deal and would certainly boost already booming ticket sales, but considering he wasn't allowed to work last year's Forbidden Door pay-per-view due to CMLL's involvement, it'll be a much tougher task getting Rush in Arena Mexico than Bandido. Going back to TNA Wrestling, and Ace Austin reportedly could be set for a new contract with the company. Ace Austin has been an integral part of TNA Wrestling for the better part of 6 years. Debuting in 2019 while the company was still known as Impact Wrestling, Austin has gone on to win the TNA X Division Championship on 3 separate occasions, the Super X Cup in 2021, and the TNA World Tag Team Championships alongside Chris Bay as part of Bullet Club under the name ABC on 3 occasions as well. However, Austin's future with the company has come into question as it appears his contract with the company is reaching its conclusion. Fightful Select have reported that TNA are very eager to retain Austin's services and are hopeful that he will remain with the company, despite no word on how far the contract talks between the two parties actually are. Austin re-signed with the company in March of 2024, but it's unknown when that deal will expire, as is the case with his ABC tag team partner Bay, whose contract was also meant to be coming up around the time of recording, but given his recent situation following his serious neck injury that briefly left him paralysed, TNA are expected to treat that situation a little differently. Now, since Bay's injury, which he picked up in October of last year, Austin has remained a constant presence on TNA programming as well as the independent circuit, where he's found the bulk of his success as a single star. He reigned as the Wrestling Revolver champion for nearly 6 months. He even challenged for the DPW World Heavyweight Championship against fellow TNA star Jake Something in February of this year. As for his TNA run, he was in the tournament to crown the first TNA International Champion, losing in the first round, and he's attempted to fill the void left by teaming with the Rascals. Going over to New Japan Pro Wrestling, and the fallout of Tetsuya Naito leaving the company continues. Now, on April 16th, New Japan announced that Tetsuya Naito would be departing New Japan Pro Wrestling as the two sides mutually agreed not to renew his contract. Naito's contract with New Japan expired on January 31st, and he had been working as a freelancer. Speaking to Tokyo Sports, Naito addressed negotiations with New Japan and comments that he was looking for more money. He said, quote, "Let me be clear. In the 5 contract rules I've had, I never once brought up money. Ever since they made me the initial offer in the first negotiation, I never touched the subject again. It's extremely frustrating to have people think I'm quitting because of money, and honestly, I think it's Tokyo Sports' fault. But if Tokyo Sports writes about it, it somehow sounds even more like a lie, so what the heck am I supposed to do? I never made any unreasonable demands. I never said, since I'm wrestling more, pay me more, or that guy wrestles less, pay him less. I just wanted them to properly value what a wrestler's match is worth. I've been saying that for years. I get the number of wrestlers has increased and there are unavoidable circumstances, but still." Now, after Naito's departure was announced, New Japan Pro Wrestling President Hiroshi Tanahashi issued a statement saying he wanted Naito to stay until the end. Naito said, quote, "Did they do that when other wrestlers left? I think it's wrong that President Tanahashi got some heat from the fans because of that. Tanahashi only showed up during the final 5th negotiation anyway," Naito revealed. "Sure, maybe I made some selfish requests, but they didn't exactly work hard to convince me to stay. After my contract expired on January 31st as a contracted wrestler, it took more than a month before they even contacted me for the next negotiation. I'm not trying to say, why didn't you do this or do that for me now? But if they don't change the way they handle contracts, I think the same thing will keep happening in the coming years. I really hope my departure prompts them to rethink how they approach contract renewals." Now, along with Naito's departure, it was announced that Bushi would also be leaving New Japan as well. Naito and Bushi will compete in their last scheduled matches with New Japan at Wrestling Dontaku Night 2 on May 4th. Now, going over to AAA, of course, recently acquired by WWE. On April 19th, WWE announced the company had successfully purchased AAA Lucha Libre. The announcement was made ahead of WrestleMania 41 Saturday. On his Keeping It 100 podcast, AAA booker Conan commented on the sale, saying, quote, "I am going to be on the creative team," he confirmed. Now, when asked who his boss is, Conan replied, quote, "Dorian, Roldan, Hunter," that being Triple H, and HBK, that being Shawn Michaels. Asked if he would be working with Jeremy Borash, who will reportedly be a part of AAA Creative, Conan replied, quote, "He could be. He's a creative genius, no doubt about it. There is nothing more fun wrestling with your friends or working with your friends. He's a good friend, so it's going to be a lot of fun." Conan then went on to discuss the positives of the sale and why AAA was sold. Quote, "Here's the thing. I've always been telling people, but the fans are so passionate, some are too fanatical. Our problem in AAA isn't our talent, isn't our booking. It's that we didn't have any money." He said, "They said in WWE, if you put all of our TVs together for 1 year, it's not as much as they spend on one TV in the United States. We're working with WWE. It doesn't get any better than that. Our show will look a lot better and we'll be able to work with their talent, not just NXT talent. Now with money, you'll see what we can do." The reason they sold the company is not because we were going out of business. The reason they sold the company is because Dorian Roldan put his ego to the side and he understood we could never grow if we didn't help and have capital. Now we have it. Business was not bad. If business was bad, this is very well documented. The last 2 years, all of our TVs have been from 85% to full. Our business is not bad. The only thing we're going to give you is much better, finished product. That benefits everybody and more work to a lot of people and more work to all the Latinos that a lot of people complain and say, why aren't they being used correctly? Now they will. Now, Conan confirmed there would be roster changes, but didn't go into details. Of course, AAA and WWE will hold a Worlds Collide event on June 7th, taking place in Los Angeles, California. Of course, as I mentioned, this has all been part of an acquisition that is reportedly set to close in Q3 of this year. And finally, Timeless Toni Storm has issued a title eliminator challenge for this week's AEW Dynamite. Current AEW Women's World Champion Timeless Toni Storm has issued a title eliminator challenge for Wednesday's edition of the show. On the April 26th edition of AEW Collision, Timeless Toni Storm defeated Queen Aminata in an AEW Women's World Title eliminator match. The bout took place on the same weekend as Storm walking the red carpet for the TCM Film Festival. On April 27th, All Elite Wrestling posted a video of Storm from the TCM Film Festival red carpet, where she issued a challenge to anyone on the roster to face her in a title eliminator match this Wednesday on the April 30th edition of AEW Dynamite. The post reads, quote, "If there are any slop tarts willing to step up to the plate, then tape up your tits up and let's tango." From the TCM Film Festival red carpet, AEW Women's World Champion Timeless Toni Storm has issued a challenge for a title eliminator match this Wednesday on AEW Dynamite. Storm, of course, is scheduled to defend the AEW Women's World Championship against the winner of the Owen Hart Foundation Women's Tournament Finals between Jamie Hayter and Mercedes Moné on Saturday, July 12th at AEW All In, Texas. But there you go, guys. Latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As you can see right there, at 21,358. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Join the ever-expanding WNU. Scan the QR code on the screen right there. You can join the WN365 roster. You get your badges, your emojis, and your exclusive members-only content. Appreciate everyone for tuning in, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.